And we are back. Hello and welcome to another Gotham Sound TV live from IBC via Zoom with Nancy Mathis from Q5X. Nancy, thank you so much for joining us.
And thank you for doing this. I was expecting you guys to come rolling up to the booth today to do this like we do at NAB, but it's great to do it on Zoom.
I wish we could be there. It is, yeah, we've got to get everybody back to work, and then we will be doing some.
Amen to that.
Yes.
Amen to that.
So Nancy, how is Amsterdam? How is the trade show? How's it going for you guys?
It's good. We've had a lot of traffic. We're in this wonderful position. I'll end our time at our booth. I'm actually starting today at Shure's booth. And so we're in the heart of things here. This is wireless audio central. Channel. Funny. In Amsterdam, talking about channels, pun intended.
Nice. And so what do you got for us?
So I'm at the Shure booth, and Shure has done up this wonderful display, complete with Shure green rocks, to demonstrate the AquaMic. So I think you guys have covered this before. This is the 16-hour AquaMic, which is IP68 rated to 100 feet. We don't have 100 feet of fish tank here, and nor would they allow them to actually bring in a real fish. They did try. But the beauty of this is not only is the transmitter completely waterproof, so is the Duraplex microphone that's attached to it. So this has a special, spin this around so you can see it. This has a special 6-pin LEMO connector. And that connector is actually the same place that you use for charging. And so Shure has released at NAB this year 2 special connectors that mate with the Axient digital Q5X product. So in the fish tank, you saw the 6-pin. And in the case of the player mic, there's a 1-pin LEMO that connects to the Shure Twinplex.
Nancy,
you know what this is going to do, right?
Well, yeah. And I have to say, even though I know it's waterproof, my heart skipped a beat when you just flicked it into the water. It's so cool.
It's pretty fantastic. And this is very popular in 16-hour format for reality TV, because with they can manage the talent with 2 shifts of their lanyard every day. So at a 12-hour interval that's predictable for the talent, they're shifting that out. That's a little teaser for where we're going to go next. So we've got the AquaMic in 8-hour. We've got the AquaMic in 16-hour. The player mic, this is a 4-hour version. There's a longer one that's 8-hour. And you guys may not have seen this. This is a flex clip that we designed that goes on multiple different ways. Because one of the questions we get asked a lot is, okay, that's nice, but where are the clips? How do you attach it? For professional athletes or athletes of any type, if you're needing to have something that is this flexible, you don't want to have clips. You have it this flexible so that if you fall on it, you're not going to get hurt. You don't want to have metal. But if this is in your kit, if you're a location sound professional, this is in your kit, you might want to use this to do an interview. So you can just attach a clip. And there you go.
Wow.
Inside, outside, on your bra. Well, for women, this is very thin profile. Even without a clip, that can go in the side of your bra, and it's very smooth profile. You can't even see that that's there. It's a little bit tickly under the arm with this long antenna. This has been designed to cover across an Aussie rule football field. So we have another version that I'll show you at our stand when we finish our tour. It's called the Chameleon. And because Chameleon is basically a player mic that comes in custom colors, but used in a studio environment. And what the engineers at Q5X have done is they've placed the antenna inside so that this little tickler is now buried, and it's more appropriate for costume and wardrobe.
And because it's in the Shure ecosystem, it's a digital transmission and it's got full encryption. Is that right, Nancy?
Exactly. And as you can tell from being here on the Shure booth, this is not an emulation of Shure. This is real Shure Axient digital. So the backs of these show the patent details of what's provided to Q5X, and we wrap the Shure radio along with the desired battery size in our form factors. And like all of the Q5X transmitters, we are basically receiver agnostic and microphone agnostic. We focus on the transmitters. They're all rechargeable. They have no buttons. We like to joke that they are talent proof. Everything is controlled where it should be controlled, in the hands of the audio engineer, the audio professional. So at 150 feet, 50 meters, you can control all the settings that you're used to controlling on the transmitter from the mic control and the mic commander.
Got it. And so it is the Axient radio, but not the Shure control. It is your own Q5X control.
That's right. And if you had a full Axient digital ecosystem with wireless workbench and Shure, and you added on our mic control, there's some interesting features that we're working on right now that you can actually monitor and control Shure receivers through our mic control. We're finalizing the widget for that, but it'll be ready by NAB.
I love that widget. That's a cool widget.
Yes, one pane of glass. One pane of glass.
That's right.
So, before we leave here, this really sums it up. Best of both worlds. You've got all of the unique transmitter capabilities of Q5X and all the wonderful power behind Shure Axient Digital. And together we're a really amazing team.
That's awesome. Awesome, awesome.
Can we walk you to Wisycom?
Let's go on a tour. I'd love to.
All right. So I'll tell you a story as we walk. We had a client, and I've got his permission to share his name, so please tag him. Stuart Cheney from +4 Audio in London. The other London, because we're from London, Canada, London, Ontario, Canada, London, UK. And he challenged us at NAB in April if he gave us back 50 of his 200 channels of analog, if he gave us back 50 of his 200 channels of analog AquaMic that were 16 hours long, would we be able to give them back to him, taking all the internals and turning them into an AquaMic still with the IP68 rating with at least 24 hours of life? So that was the challenge. We turned our internal team. We have brilliant mechatronic engineers. And this is what we made for Stu.
Wow.
He was all set to be here for the first day of IBC to touch it. He's seen it over video, of course. The first day we got it from the shop, we showed it to Stu over WhatsApp, but he hasn't touched it yet. I hope to bring him a copy of it on Wednesday when I head that way. But this is the new, and I hope you can see the beautiful angles. This is you just want to touch this. It's an amazing device. So the challenge had been 24 hours. This is a 36 hour. And so this is the AquaMic XL, and it's shipping to Stu in October, and it's going to be compatible with Wisycom.
Wow.
Stu is an analog guy, and so our analog transmitters are compatible with Shure, obviously, Sennheiser, Wisycom, Electrosonics, and of course we have our own receiver on the analog side, just for good measure. So there's 5 options for compatibility. So for people who right now are struggling to add gear to their kit, it's wonderful to be able to say you don't actually need another receiver. You've got a receiver, just expand your capability on the transmitter side.
That's awesome.
Wisycom's been great, and we've had compatibility with them for a long time.
That's so cool. That's so cool. That's great.
So, success story for Stu. And the beauty of this is, can I walk backwards and do this, Henry? Do you think you can keep people out of my way? All right. The last time I did this with Gotham, I was walking and doing a... Henry's doing a great job being my
Oh, thank you so much, Henry.
So in a reality TV environment, when you're interacting with the talent, every time you interact with talent, it breaks their concentration. So great wireless audio begins with comfortable talent. And comfortable talent doesn't have you crawling up on them and changing batteries or changing settings. You can just file it and forget it. So with our remote control that operates at the distance that it does, you can hand this to talent and let them place it where they want, knowing that there's no battery change that's ever going to happen. And there's absolutely no need to interfere with the talent's train of thought. But with a 16-hour AquaMic, they had to change that pack out twice a day on the lanyard over the heads of the talent. So Stu's challenge for us to go for 24 hours means that there was only one change of the lanyard. And then we tripled it. So 36 hours was a big feature for us, because now they only have to change it a third of the time that they used to have to change it before. So huge workflow change, and folks are just getting used to something that's entirely different. Okay, we're getting closer. I can see it in my rearview mirror.
No, that 36 hours is unheard of in an internal battery, as far as I know. I mean, that's just unbelievable.
And I get you guys to move out of the way. Thanks. So this is cool. You know I can put this in a fishbowl, but I'm going to take you on to some of the other cool toys. So this is my little station. It's a booth. Everything here is unpriced and prototype. So let me take you on a little tour. So we're known for our range of analog transmitters. And as we've started this digital relationship with Shure, we buy a radio module from them, and the radio module is the same size as our analog module that we had created originally. So we can just swap out the module and turn a form factor that was analog into a form factor that is now digital. So we've been progressing through those. The next one we were working on is the Incognito that's analog. This has been in existence for probably 10 years. Mm-hmm. And this circumvented the objection from sound technicians who didn't like the idea of a rechargeable battery. That was foreign to them. They wanted something that could have a removable battery, so when the shot started, they could put a battery on and know it was fresh. So this is what we did years ago to solve that in an incognito format. But this is kind of a bother. How do you charge this? Specialty charging stations, there's still a wire. So while this had its applications as a wig mic or a BraMic or other places, inside helmets is another application for this. It wasn't the flyaway success that we would have hoped. So when we started to redesign this for digital, we said, let's take a new look at this. So if this is the concept, I'm going to take you through three different, these are all prototypes, but you'll see the evolution of what we do at Q5X as a custom project. So this was the first one I saw from the engineers. The idea was that this would detach. This one actually doesn't. It's all just rubber. But instead of having a wire, why not have a flexible ribbon? Then you can fold it, as I just had it originally, and you've got a really small format body pack. This one has an 8-hour battery, so obviously if we went to 10 or 12 hours, this would flush out nicely, and that's what it will look like in April when it hits the market. So then you've got an Incognito, but it's also kind of a player mic, right? Like, what's the difference between this and a player mic? And when you detach this battery, this could be a 4-hour battery, an 8-hour battery, an 80-hour battery. It makes no difference, because this is going to be the pricey part, and this is going to be the cheap part. Mm-hmm. So when this hits the market, it'll be a transmitter with a bunch of batteries in different formats. So then we said yes to concept. The next one we got from engineering, and it'll be, so this is showing it with the flex clip in place. So these blue clips squeeze. This is just prototype, so this is the reason it's a prototype. It's a USB-C connector. So ambidextrous, can go this way or that way. Clips in place. Clips in place, double click, you can hear it. So it's this concept. This is shorter. So we like the idea of this being a longer ribbon in between that can fold. So that will come back in this version. And then we continue to work on the click mechanism.
Nancy, but just because it's USB-C, does that mean that you can also use your own USB-C power source?
You can. You can. And if you look at this, I can plug my cell phone charger into this and plug it into the wall. So if I wanted to have a plant mic in the top of a rafter that's controllable from 150 feet away, you can power it down, power it up. It could be in the rafters of a venue forever. It can be under a table during a confident or meeting that you were trying to record. Let me forget the confidential word. So Incognito is going to be really, really flexible. And if you want to have, again, 2-hour, 4-hour, 8-hour batteries for a rental house, they don't have to have the concern anymore. So Gotham, there's no concern anymore of, do you stock more player mics in the long format or the short format? It doesn't matter. You just stock a bunch of batteries. And if someone had a special need and they wanted this to have a broad base so that it could stand up, or they wanted a carabiner hooked at the back of it, that's okay. We can just mold that in place.
And Nancy, just to address one of the comments that's coming in, if we go with your semi-proprietary battery solution for the USB-C, that locks out all the moisture.
We hope so.
Mm-hmm.
If we get a good zoom in on this, you can see this O-ring. So we haven't done IP68 testing yet to see what will happen, but that is the idea, that this will be tight enough so that it'll prevent any water ingression. Because you're right, there is no USB charger. The transmitter will have no battery in it at all. This is the only battery. So once that comes off, we're hoping that there's actually the selection of this USB charger has some waterproofing capabilities in the back of this, let alone once it's just installed. So we're really hopeful this will be ready for NAB. The last one I'll show you is just a slight improvement on how the attachment works. So this is a little smoother. It's still not there. And this demonstrates that original ability to have a cable attached to it, so that if you needed to distance the battery from the transmitter to fit the installation environment, this can come in any length. So that's the digital Incognito. Coming soon to a supplier cool. Near you.
And so, and just again to address some comments, you obviously have an eye towards waterproofing it. So
yes,
that's good. All right, good.
That is the goal. And even our existing player mics, how users make this more waterproof is they put a piece of gaff tape over the USB charger. Then they typically do they will take the mic connector, put it to the side, put an additional wrap of gaff tape around here. That gives some strain relief here. And so you've got gaff tape and then more on it. And that's a typical sports application. When in a case like a jersey, where you're installing it in one of the pouches underneath the arm, that's a typical NBA installation.
Right.
They're pretty sweaty when these jerseys come off.
Yeah.
They weigh twice as much as they did when they went on.
Yeah, I bet.
So we don't say waterproof, but I joke and say it's Maytag proof.
Nice. All right, good. And I don't know if this is what you're going to show next, but my favorite memory from NAB was the HatMic. How is that coming?
Okay. The HatMic. Here we go. So not bad. I'll raise my head. You can see, and this is still very much prototype. We haven't done any finishing on the edges. So we're working with a client now that is interested in this application. We've been testing it in the field. This is third or fourth iteration, and it's around the weight. And so if you were wearing this in play, you don't want this to be problematic. Again, we're talking a few grams. So whether it's used in actual performance, or whether it's something used, let's say in the draft, you've got a bunch of team hats made up in advance, and you plunk it on your draft pick, and then it's all mic'd up. They walk away, and maybe there's that special moment where they get the hug from the spouse. Yeah, babe, proud of you. So the HatMic, and you know where the HatMic goes, right? You know what happened at NAB. The HatMic kept falling off of the hat in prototype format. I threw it in the front of my dress, and we started calling it the cleavage mic. That is not going to be the actual name. But this one in pink, so that I can start conversations about professional women's broadcast in sports, and the fact that it's scandalous that only 5% of professional broadcast sports represents women. And so what would we do if we could, what would we hear if more women were mic'd? And so Q5X has always called its products AquaMic, player mic, but in reality, they don't have microphones. Our microphones are provided by microphone providers.
Yeah.
In this case, these actually have integrated microphones, making our products now truly wireless, including the microphone. So this can tuck in the top of the sports bra, and then the microphone is where you want it.
Yeah.
And it's one piece.
And that's
talent can put it on themselves.
And that's
at
mic.
the time they want to put it on.
Yeah, and that's mic, transmitter, and power, all in one.
Yes.
Form-fitted design. That's great.
Yes. And so we're heading in that direction, and preventing is the wrong word. We're facilitating easier installation onto the talent, and ideally that the talent can place it themselves. When they're getting ready for whatever performance they're going to do, we want them in that zone. So it can be in their dressing room. They can place this in their underwear. Nobody's going to contact them until their performance is over. So in this format, that's great for personal wear. Here's another cool new toy. This is a TossMic. And so we're using this in golf applications. I think you've probably seen our golf hole mic before.
Mm-hmm.
It's a microphone down inside a golf hole that's been used for years to capture the sound, not only of the click, click, click of the ball, but of the voices around the final hole. So this is a TossMic. So Henry's going to let me toss it. I'm going to toss it across. I'm going to toss it at Henry. So the idea is something's going on at the final hole of a golf shoot. And here it goes. I'm going to try to sling it across at Henry. And so that has a 36-hour battery. It has a Duraplex microphone in it for waterproofness. And that's still in prototype mode. But the idea is that top microphone under the under the windscreen, which is porous to let water just flow through the whole thing. Underneath that, we're going to have a lockable latch that you can twist off that top microphone and detach it. And now you have a plant mic that can just sit wherever you want it. So dual purpose in that. The idea that you have to have dedicated gear for one use is not the direction that we're going.
I love that. And
so all prototype.
And so you mentioned that it's water can flow across it. Can it be with the kind of TossMic thing? Can that be placed like in a poolside, or will it float, that kind of thing?
Ooh, floating. Okay, I'm gonna have to write that down and sign your name beside it. I like that. I like that idea a lot. So we'll capture that one. We'll talk about intellectual property later, but I like that one a lot.
I mean, I was thinking just like Water Olympics, coverage, something like that.
Yes, absolutely. And so good segue, Water Olympics.
There you go.
We did this years ago.
Yeah.
So this was a BuoyMic that was done for the Rio Olympics. And if you remember, the Zika virus was a huge deal. And so they didn't want to put a transmitter on the boats because the weight of the transmitter, even though negligible, might affect official play and times. So we equipped a buoy. This is the microphone. And inside this thing, we had a 36-hour battery. And I think it was actually double packed, so for redundancy. And we could control the standby and the on and off and all of the frequency through the mic commander from the shore. And this was located for the rowers so that as they were going by the final turn, you could hear the whoo, whoo, whoo of the rowers in action.
So cool. And that's the top of it, yeah? So we're above any salt water or anything like that. Yeah.
Exactly. And so it was a safety thing too, because people didn't want to go out and handle anything that could have been contaminated with Zika virus.
Yeah. Wow. Nancy, that's such
I think
cool
we
stuff.
are, one more.
All right.
So as I said, we were taking our existing line of analog products and transforming them one by one into being digital. So this was our transformation of the RefMic. But again, I don't like calling these things mic if they have no mic. So this is actually going to be called the Toggle. So this has a push button that's different than the traditional coach mic that you would have been familiar with from us, that has the rocker switch like a light switch in the end.
Yep.
This toggle at the end, this nice push button, is going to be software controllable to be push to talk, push to mute, push to house, voice of God. And so in sports applications where they want a continuous feed from the referee, so they have entire transcript, audio transcript, I guess you would say, of the entire game, the push to talk function or the push to house function just adds an additional layer of where the sound is going to go to. So this is the next new one.
I love that. I'm going to borrow an idea from Deity that we just learned about, which might apply to that, which is to have a vibrating motor in the transmitter, like just a little way to vibrate it. So that way a ref would have positive feedback when they actually engage.
Yeah.
Haptic feedback.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Haptic feedback, because that's what we have in the this one's red, so it looks very foreign to you. These are just standard plastic covers. So this is nice for workflow too, so that you can have coordinating. You could have red transmitters and a red mic controller. So our mic commander has haptics built into it. So as you make any of the changes, you've got that nice little.
Yeah, no, that's nice. And that'll also open up like maybe a double tap on the button can send it to a PA system, but a single tap sends it somewhere else, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the beauty of it is it's software controllable. Yeah. So I think in typical applications, what we're hearing is they would know what the application was and train the user to be able to follow it correctly.
Absolutely. Nancy,
so
when
I said colors, the last thing I'm going to show you, and then I'll let you go.
Yeah.
So when we have been talking about our player mic in theater and film and TV applications, I was hearing back from people, oh no, I don't use that because my documentary isn't about sports. And I was shocked to hear that people actually thought the player mic was dedicated to athletes. So I went back to the shop and I asked them to make me one in a different color. And I said, just take a player mic, put it in a different color skin, and let's call it the Chameleon. And they said, well, how is this different, Nancy? And I said, well, this will be used in studio environments instead of big football fields. So they said, well, we have better antenna technology now. Would you like us to bury the antenna? Because you don't need the big external antenna if you're not covering a big area. So this big antenna is now inside.
Uh-huh.
So if you're going to place this, and don't you love that my dress actually matches? If you're going to place this in a bra, there's no more tickle.
That's great.
So it's much more comfortable. And again, it's so flush that it disappears, and I don't feel that at all.
Awesome.
There you go. That's what I've been up to in the last 6 months.
You have been super busy, and I really super appreciate you taking the time out and showing us not just your stuff, but showing us around IBC a little bit on the floor.
Yeah. It's great. I hope you're getting a sense of the crowd. It's really hopping here.
No, that's good. Nancy, thank you so much.
So please post this out. Tag us at the Instagram. I'm trying to build up the Instagram. And for those who are watching, this is the little handwritten note on what you need to tag us with, and follow us for new stuff.
Awesome. Will do.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.